All right, today we are talking with Simon Edwardsson. He is the co-founder and CTO of V7. And Simon, could you just tell us a little bit more about what you do there and what V7 does?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me. Yeah, V7, we are trying to help companies leverage deep learning and neural networks to solve tasks that you're trying to solve. We're focusing on visual tasks, letting people upload data onto our platform and have a very quick and easy way to label the data and then leverage that to solve various problems.
Okay, very good. Definitely an area of a lot of interest to a lot of different companies. And we'll dive into that a little bit more. But today, I mean, the thing I'm talking to a lot of different people about is just the struggle to find technical talent. Things are changing so quickly, so fast. And where do we get the talent from is people are looking for ideas. And you have done something very interesting and something I know other people have looked at, and you have gone out to some places like GitHub, Upwork, Slack, just to name a few, to try and recruit some people and find some people. Can you dive into one of these? And maybe let's start with Upwork, how you've utilized Upwork just to find some talent.
Yeah, sure. When we started out this company, we were kind of small and strapped for cash. So what we started out doing was using Upwork to post jobs that we wanted to do. And then people would apply, they would show up the CV, what they've done, just like a normal recruitment process, but you can have a much shorter engagement where you're basically trialing out a person and they're also trialing out working with you. And when things work out, you can take it off the platform and go into more like contractor or full-time employee position. So it's a nice way of finding people and get to work with them right away without going through a very lengthy process. And on the other hand, as well, you don't really have the notice period that you normally have when you talk to someone who's already working somewhere, where you have to wait a month or 3 months before they can join your team. If they're already on Upwork, they will probably be available within a week for you to work with. So the quality varies. So you have to look at what they've done before, and you have to be you have to really validate the work they do in the beginning. But we found some of our best performers at Upwork. We don't use it as much anymore, but we use it a lot in the beginning.
It's a good way to get started. Now, a follow-up question on that. I know that there are a lot of companies, when they think Upwork, they're thinking, I'm going to pay $5 or $10 an hour for somebody in the Philippines to do some type of work for me. Is that how you approached it, or did you go a different angle? Because there's a lot of people on Upwork. So
yeah, it depends what kind of company you are. Since we are a tech company and what the thing we're building is like based on technology, it's important for us that all that tech is in-house. Otherwise, we could just have found a software house to build all our technology for us. And when you work with someone who is remote in a very different time zone, there's a lot of communication problems, and not just in language, but just you have to wait for people to respond, and they can talk to you right away when you're not awake or available for business. And all this overhead is deadly in a startup.
yes.
It might be okay to have in a larger corporation, but in a startup you can't have it. So you want to find someone who's relatively close to you in time zone wise, and you probably want to find someone who's like getting decently paid, so they're decently motivated to work with you. And the really good talent is probably they know what they're worth and they're going to get what they're worth.
Yeah.
And you don't want to fight for the. It's not a race to the bottom who can pay the least. It's like more what can you get for each euro, dollar, or pound that you put into.
Okay. So were you looking for people more inside of Europe, or would you even extend outward a little bit? Because you're based in Europe, correct?
Yeah, we're based in London, and we have people currently working for us all the way from Portugal to Ukraine, so most of Europe. But we have decided to stick in the European time zone. We also have we are a semi-remote company, so more than half the company is remote, but sometimes they come to the office. While some part of the company is always in the office.
Yeah.
However, we have retreats twice a year. One in the summer, one in the winter, and it's a bit easier, at least we're on the same continent, to meet up, especially now when we are still in a like 45, 50 people kind of phase.
So yeah, Upwork, great strategy. And Slack and GitHub, tell us how you utilize these to find some people.
So one of the programming languages we're using is Elixir, which is
Okay.
not a very famous language, I would say.
Okay.
It's up and growing, and there's a lot of buzz around it, and it's been around for a while now. But still, it's a very tight community, and there's a couple of different Slack channels, Slack groups where they talk about Elixir, and they have a recruitment channel where you can post. And if you post there, you're bound to get people reaching out to you almost right away, because the people who work in Elixir, they're very eager to find a company that's actually using it, while we're very eager to find someone who has expertise in it. It's a bit of a trade-off, though. I think if you pick a very broad language or broad framework, say that you want a JavaScript developer who knows React, you have millions of people to choose from. But the range of quality among those people is very, very big. The variance goes from beginner to like expert. And it's really hard to know where someone is in that scale. If you take a language that is a bit more niche, you're still going to have beginners and experts, but the variance is smaller. And because if someone made it their mission to find a job that has this language, they're probably at least in the upper percentile of candidates you can find. So I feel like it's a good filter in itself to find good talent. So yeah, finding the right Slack groups, finding the right forums. Obviously, make sure that you don't post spam in the wrong channels, and you follow the guidelines for the community you're trying to participate in. But it's a good way to get feedback and find the people who are actually looking for jobs. GitHub, on the other hand, is you can look for repositories that you're using yourself, or that is similar to what you're looking for, and then you actually know that this person would fit right in terms of skill set. You can look for people who have done projects in the languages or frameworks you're looking for, and then see. It's a bit tricky sometimes to figure out where they're based, which time zone from the GitHub profile. Are they looking for jobs or not? It's fairly easy to find the email address and then contact them, but it's going to be a hit or miss. But if you can combine GitHub with any other data, like they applied or you found them on LinkedIn or something similar, GitHub is something you definitely should go to figure out what they're doing. That being said, some people don't have time to do open source work. They spend a lot of time on work that they can't show. It's proprietary, and you shouldn't punish them for that. It's totally fair. But if they have open source work, it becomes a bit easier to find them and work with them.
Yeah. No, for a lot of companies, there's a lot of specialized thing that a lot of tech companies are looking to do, and saying who else is contributing or who else is active on these channels. Yeah, absolutely a great way. I think a lot of companies are going to hear that and say, yeah, we can do that too. So that's a good thing. So all the other companies using Elixir, stay away though. Okay. And something else you had mentioned to me before is you do some newsletters to try and reach out to people. Can you elaborate on that?
So we have a newsletter, like a company newsletter that we send out once a month. It includes all the new features we are releasing, what's on the horizon, new blog posts that people should be interested in, and other changes. And it's a fairly good way to keep in contact with all your customers, but it's also a good way for anyone who's interested in the company. Sometimes people find your company and they're like, this is an interesting place to work at, but right now it's not the right time. But this is a way for them to keep in touch. On the other hand, we're also sending out, we created this YouTube video, 90 seconds long, that just highlights all the kind of features and what we have in the company. Because a lot of times when you try to reach out to a customer, or not customer, a potential recruit, you want to kind of explain to them what you're trying to do. This is what my company is. This is why you should waste or invest the time you have into what we are doing.
Okay.
Because most developers these days get 1 to 5 recruitment emails per day.
Yes.
It's like they're swamped. So you want to have something that is very on point and just highlights, this is what we do, this is why it's cool. Get the kind of elevator pitch in, so they come to you and start talking and they are interested. And
Okay.
I'm not talking about this when you have a video of yourself and like headshot and talk like, hi Simon, it's nice to meet you. It's more like, here's the product and this is what we do, and there's AI here, there's deep learning, there's big data, there's scaling. You're gonna love it. And for engineers, that really work well.
Okay, and we'll definitely put a link to that. But that's a great idea, just to pitch the company, pitch what you're going to be doing, a day in the life. Where'd you get the idea for doing that?
I don't know where it came from. I think my co-founder came up with it. He's
Okay.
very good at creating like visual material and videos, and I just been including it in all my messages since.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. Just pitching the company. I mean, so many times we see companies talking about what they want, and they're talking about proprietary systems or proprietary stuff in the job description that doesn't mean a whole lot to a lot of other people. You have to describe things to them that are relevant to someone on the outside, why they would want to come to you. So it sounds like you've done that. Great, good job. So and how's all this been working? How's the company been growing? Are you getting a constant flow of people coming to, say, I'd like to work for you? Is it working for you?
Yeah, I mean, we both have inbounds, and we have also been using recruiters, of course. Obviously, there's a price to using recruiters that can be pretty steep for a startup. But we were 12 people in January last year, and now we are reaching 50. So we have been
Wow.
growing pretty rapidly. And I would say like most of those people are still outbound. So we leverage AngelList, we leverage Cord here in the UK, we leverage Slack forums, as I said earlier, newsletters. Yeah, there are paid newsletters for different areas. Like uh, Elixir has a few paid newsletters. There's a few ones for deep learning, and then you can buy a small link, basically. Like we are looking for new hires, and it costs you $100 to $500, but then you reach a pretty wide audience. And it's not just about finding people; it's also creating this like mind share that we exist, we are part of the ecosystem, that people start like even if not looking today, when they look in 6 months from now, 12 months from now, they heard of us, and it's going to be much easier for them to like, hey, that's V7. We heard about them before. I want to check them out and I want to see what they're doing.
Yeah. The message I'm trying to tell to a lot of companies is, like you said, you went from 12 to 50, correct?
Almost
Yeah.
50 now. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're adding that many people in a year. Uh, do you hire 4 people, or do you want to hire 5 people or 4 people and pay recruiter fees? It's kind of a choice a lot of companies are made, and it can get expensive, and you have to use them at some point in time if you want to grow. But you can eliminate a lot of those if you're doing some of the things that you were talking about here. Let's go to Upwork, Slack, GitHub, and just reach out to people and think about doing marketing for candidates. So good job. So
Yeah. I just want to preface that some of the recruiters we work with have been great, and they have found some really good talent as well. So I would like the way I see it is that if you scale, if you rate your candidates 1 to 10, you use your recruiters to find the 9 to 10, like the best of the best, and
yeah.
then you can use the rest of the pipeline for the like 7, 8, 9, 10.
There's no elimination of recruiters in this market. There's just too much
Unfortunately.
demand. But companies need to do a whole lot more to just get people to start coming to them. And also, when recruiters find people for you, that's the last step to get them over, is everything that you've done already. So everybody wants to be part of the culture like that. So yeah, good job. So who should reach out to V7? A little bit more about what you do, who you're trying to communicate with, either from a company point of view or a candidate point of view.
Yeah, no. So if you're interested, jobs@v7labs.com is our email. We're looking for people that are proficient in full stack, front end, back end, or deep learning, or a combination of them. And the deep learning side is more of a like applied deep learning, where you implement new things, the R&D parts that we then later turn into something in the company. Um, it's it's a fairly interesting team. We're growing pretty fast. Most of us have 5 or more years experience. It's a fairly senior team, and the amount of data we're getting in on a daily basis and the way we're scaling, it creates a lot of interesting scaling challenges, big data challenges, and then trying to keep up with the latest in deep learning at the same time, to try to help our customers basically solve their vision problems and data labeling.
Sounds like a very exciting things to be working on. You guys are going to be very busy for a good long time, I think. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate it. And we'll be in touch with you again soon. Okay.
Thank you so much. Take care.
All right. Bye bye.